The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners. Medical House presents Bermuda's most viewed and listened to talk show. The Daily Hour starts now.
It's Thursday, the 8th day of October. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House and Linda's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Carla Zool and Sherry Lynn Pringle. Thank you for making us part of your daily routine. You all wondering why I'm smirking like this. You're going to find out. If you haven't already, share the link, start a watch party, just get the conversation out there to your network. We're going to have a good one today as we continue focusing on mental health with professional counselor Cathy Sousa and community psychiatric nurse Rebecca Fisayo. They'll be stopping by. The Daily Play is a name that plays, so Carla and I are going to be guessing some ridiculous geography questions. Sorry. But, we've got some things to talk about. Like I said, we have a guest, two guests coming on today. And I thought that we would focus on the cabinet, because I think the cabinet's supposed to be named today. But look, we may have just identified the most famous fly in the history of flies. I mean, this fly probably got a nickname by now, right? I was watching it. I'm like, has that been there all night and I didn't notice it? So what did I do? I headed over onto Twitter and started seeing the memes. I mean, the internet is quick. I just don't understand how, do you all have no lives where you just, okay, meme ready? How do you do
it? It was quick. And the funny thing about it, the best one was Joe Biden capitalizing on it and having people link to his site to give a donation and selling fly swatters, which sold out.
Phenomenal by his team. Phenomenal. But other than the fly, I mean, because the fly will be remembered most by everyone. But I must say, if you watch that debate, it was quite possibly the most telling, more telling than the first one. And why I say it was more telling than the first one, because it exposed the Republican strategy, which is to control the debate as much as possible. Don't show any respect, bully your way. What Kamala Harris did a bit better than Biden was she tried to get her time back. But at the same time, and I said it last week, you all are showing too much respect to people who are showing you none. Don't just, if this man continues to not follow the rules, then anything goes.
Right, but you understand the narrative, right? Of if she had come back at him a lot harder, then she becomes the angry black woman, and he still remains the polished white professional male, and that's just something that we deal with on a daily basis.
But I disagree, because had Joe Biden responded last week, he wouldn't have been the angry old white guy.
No, he wouldn't have.
Well, yeah, I know you're a black woman, and I cannot relate to the experience, but I would agree. I would disagree with that. I think that Kamala Harris could be a white woman or a black man, and I still think that it would have been the same situation. It's very clear this is not about her being a black woman the way that Mike Pence acted. It's the Republican strategy, because you've seen it 2 weeks in a row. So I just feel like their strategy is to make sure that they control and bully their way through the debate, regardless of the opponent. The opponent is stuck. Their strategy seems clear: to remain calm, collected, and follow the rules. But at the end of the day, following the rules, look, it's not. It's. I don't know. Maybe they know what they're doing. I'm the guy who doesn't. I don't know.
You could tell within the first few minutes. You could tell within the first couple of seconds that this was going to happen, and he consistently did it all night. I was about to go through the screen, but I had to respect what she was trying to do, and she eventually started to do exactly the same thing, but just more politely, it seemed, because he was running over everybody. And I'm so glad that fly showed up, because it pushed him to third place on the debate, in my opinion.
Well,
she said third place.
I just think one of the things that stand out to me from these first two debates, it's very, very clear. And I think, as I stated on my personal Facebook page today, I have no dog in this fight. And I say that because I'm a stateless voter. As far as I know, I'm the only stateless voter on this show. Yeah, I'm a beat that hit horse until it's legit, not me. So, but I say that no dog in this fight, only from a voter perspective. I find it fascinating to me, because having gone to college, I've been begging for some Republican friends lately on social media so I can see how these people think, right? And I realized I actually have a few. They just don't come up in my news feed. So I came across one who said, "Stop listening to news media and look at facts." And it struck me that these folks, despite what's being shown, and I spoke about hypotheticals, because the hypotheticals last week with President Trump was one, that had Joe been in charge, we would have lost even more people. Again, hypothetical. And then last night, Pence says 60 million contracted swine flu, had it been as deadly as the current virus, COVID, would have lost 2 million. These are hypotheticals. And what Joe Biden and Kamala have done the last 2 weeks, Kamala Harris, they have provided actual facts against hypotheticals. And so when I see these folks, and again, no dog in this fight, because I could care less about two elderly men. You all can say what you want about me with that, but these are two elderly white men fighting for power to tell you how to, whatever. But I just think the Democrats are probably fighting a more fair and honest fight from what I've seen in the last 2 weeks. It just, again, that's my honest, unbiased perspective, looking and observing what I've seen. It's weird to me.
Well, it's a major fight, because look, you're looking at a president who has claimed that he has COVID, but will not produce anything to actually prove that he actually did have it. And I don't know why at this juncture he felt he needed to do that, but it's really, this situation in the US is really, really odd. And the countries around the world are looking in and like shaking their head. The New England Journal of Medicine actually published an opinion yesterday, and they've never done this apparently, and they basically said he needs to be voted out, because the US's credibility, their standing, and just the mental health of people. I couldn't take another 4 years of him.
But the interesting thing with him and this whole he had COVID and now he's better or whatever has raised a discussion about accessibility to healthcare yet again. So I think his plan may be coming back to bite him, because I've read several articles which have said this is just another example of how he's able, or people like him can access medications that are not available to the everyday man. And then he's trying to reform healthcare to make it even less accessible. So he may have shot himself in his foot yet again.
I think they're holding out their health plan. They're the one that's been coming every 2 weeks. I think they're holding that out until probably maybe 2 weeks before the election. But what they're not realizing is people have started to vote. 40 million people have voted, or even more.
I thought they said last night millions of people versus 75,000 last time. Yeah, I don't remember the exact million, but I was like, wow, that is crazy. But I want to ask Carla a question, if you don't mind, Shari.
Oh, Lord.
Carla, it's time for one of your hunches. What? You're on the streak. I mean, look, who could have predicted you'd be so wrong about the old pastor? But you were right on the light. So because you're our political guru, I want to get your opinion. Do you think that the Biden-Harris ticket is going to win this U.S. election?
Well, let's go back to 2016 when I thought, I'd never forget, I got up in the morning and I said to my daughter, who won the election? And she said, Mommy, Donald Trump. And I thought it was a prank, right? Because I did not think it was possible. I don't know, Jamal. If I had to feel my hunch would say that I think that Donald Trump's going to come in again. I don't want that. That's not my desire. But I just think all his people and supporters and all that are going to come out in droves and droves because people believe in this man. I hope that Biden and Harris win.
So, as someone that predicted Donald Trump would win, I mean, obviously through the Electoral College, not through popular vote, but as one who predicted it, reading the people, and I remember people saying I'm crazy. I remember being up in at a little get-together in New Jersey. So the election was a Tuesday or something, I think a Tuesday. And I was at a friend's house on Saturday having a little get-together. And I have to identify the players, not out of disrespect, but all mainly black people. And this one white guy married to a black girl. And very liberal, Democrat. It's no way he can win, and Hillary this and Hillary. I'm like, okay. So, what about all of your friends you work with who don't even speak to you about politics? What about all of your friends who, just listen to you and don't share their opinion? How are they going to do? Oh, they wouldn't. But have they told you that? I think the silent majority worked last time around, but I think there's too many things going against him this time. And I think those kind of things that are going against him is people realizing, I don't like Pete Buttigieg. He reminds me too much of this guy, that guy Dallas, right? I just don't like him. But he basically killed Fox News last night. He killed Fox News. When they asked about Kamala Harris backtracking on, just her record, and he pretty much said, you mean the same way that I don't think we want to go down that road because Mike Pence and even the evangelical goes so hard for a president who's been pretty much caught with a porn star and went on his record. So I'm not quite sure you want to go down that road. I think this time around, people are more, I guess, they see a bit more for what Donald Trump is. And there's one more thing I want to say, because the new U.S. consulate guy said it in Bermuda. And he said that this is a business president. And I find that hilarious when people say, oh, this is a businessman, this is a business that. Because this is a man whose businesses have been debt-ridden. He's filed bankruptcy more than, what makes a person a business person? The fact that their name's on stuff, the fact they own stuff, or is it how they actually run businesses? I used to think like this from young and always say, why is it in Bermuda this person's considered a businessman, but they're always in the newspaper for some debt or something like that?
And that's what Kamala Harris brought up last night, which was very important. He owes somebody $421 million. Who does he owe that to? And people may say that may only impact the USA. But if the USA goes to war or something like that, that affects all of us. Who does he owe $421 million to? Everybody deserves an answer to that question. And we've been waiting for 4 years to just get an answer about his taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Interesting.
The only thing I was going to say is that the one thing that he's shown is that he does not give a bleep about anyone. And when he made that statement the other day, which that lady who is an actress lost her husband, he's an actor as well, saying like, how could he be so callous? I think that's going to go against him because he's showing that he does not even have empathy for people. Oh, it's just that COVID. And that lady, she's been making rounds. I can't remember her name, but her husband was a Broadway actor, and he suffered and died.
95 days. 95 days he suffered, and then this man comes out and yesterday, it's a gift from God. I don't get that.
I think Carla just summed it up right there. I think that's probably, it right there. He hasn't shown empathy to people, the country, and I think that may come back to bite him. I don't necessarily go for stats. Has a 17% chance of winning. Maybe right. I mean, yesterday they said that Florida is in Biden's hands now. Now, you folks, come on. I live in Florida. You know damn well you can't trust Florida with elections. You know damn well you cannot trust Florida with elections. So let's not even rely. If you're relying on Florida to win an election, you know what? Let's go to the news with Carla, because there ain't nothing strong enough to make me believe Florida could win somebody an election. They'll lose you an election. I don't know about winning. Yeah, Carla, let's go to the news. Don't forget, we have Cathy Sousa coming up with Rebecca Fisayo. We're going to be talking about mental health again. So another important conversation. We'll be back after Carla gets you up to date with what's going on.
In Bermuda, a 44-year-old mother of two has won an appeal against a 3-month jail term imposed for an attempt to smuggle cannabis into Bermuda to treat her chronic epilepsy-like seizures. Natasha York was sentenced to a year in prison in 2018 after she admitted she tried to bring 1,430 grams of the drug contained in hemp oil and hemp butter through the airport, but Magistrate Kamisi Tacumbo suspended 9 months of the term because of her circumstances. But puny judge Sude Sabir Williams ruled the appellant appeared before the magistrate as a 41-year-old mother of two daughters of minor age with no criminal history or suggested criminal affiliation on an early guilty plea. It is clearly accepted by the Crown that the magistrate that the appellant had no intention of sharing the imported cannabis with any other person, or that her sole purpose for bringing the substance to Bermuda was to privately smoke, as it is as a means of relieving herself of regular and injurious seizures. Turning to the news that everyone's talking about, if one measure of success is popularity on social media, the vice president debate was a no contest. Despite the candidates' best efforts, nothing they said resonated with people online, quite like the wanderings of one unsuspecting insect. For approximately 2 minutes, a fly landed on Vice President Mike Pence's head and became an instant internet celebrity. The phrase, "the fly," has been tweeted and retweeted more than 700,000 times since it appeared during last night's debate. The Joe Biden campaign has taken full advantage of this, registering the domain flywillvote.com, while a picture of the candidate holding a fly swatter has been liked more than 500,000 times so far. Our feet are more important than many of us think. Not only do they help to keep us upright and to move around, but the health of our feet can even indicate how healthy we are in other parts of our body. October 8th is International Podiatry Day. How do we celebrate? You can read about many health conditions related to feet, as well as information on how to keep your feet healthy. Looking after your feet day to day involves things like wearing the right shoes and caring for your toenails. You can learn about how to keep your own feet healthy and how a podiatrist can help you. Now turning to weather, Bermuda's high today will be 83. It will be 64 in Newark and 63 in Essex. Don't forget, Medical House is your #1 source of PPE supplies, masks, face shields, disinfectants, sanitizers, glove gowns, no-touch thermometers, and so much more at the lowest prices. Visit Medical House today at 22 Millreach Lane in Pembroke. And on a programming note, my favorite time, don't forget to tune in to the full100.com radio. The Full 100 got so excited, couldn't say it properly. The full100radio.com tonight for nighttime jams featuring some of your favorite romantic classics.
I think she's done, folks. I think she's done. So real quickly, I want to apologize. We celebrated, what was it? Teachers Day on Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? Well, we celebrated Teachers Day, and I've got quite a few texts this week from some of our teachers, and one of the texts reads, I'm so upset that I cannot watch the Daily Hour live anymore. And obviously, school's going back in, and so our teacher friends aren't able to watch. So we are thinking about you. We thank you. But what we're going to do is we're going to try to work on something so that we can get a podcast up and going for you immediately following this show. It may not happen soon, but we'll work on getting something, because we definitely do this show for everyone, and we want to ensure that you can tune in to what we're discussing on a daily basis regularly. All right. So,
But Mal, do you know that on Channel 82, but one at 6 p.m.?
yeah, but I think they can go on YouTube. What I'm trying to do is, with a podcast and audio, they can just tune in while they're driving, and they don't have to watch. They can just listen to it, and it wouldn't cost them much data if they just download it on their phone. So, but yes, we are on Channel 82. The replay at 6 p.m. evening, so you can watch it there if you get home from school early enough. That is. All right, so let's take a quick break. We'll be back with our guests for the day, Rebecca Sousa and Rebecca Fisayo, discussing mental health.
Good day, Medical House Doris speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare.
Medical House is a great resource for Leroy. The service is excellent.
Medical House is best known for its uniforms and footwear. It has hundreds of styles of scrubs and nurses' uniforms for health professionals. Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products. These same professional quality products are available to you for home health care.
The biggest reason to come see us is that we specialize in these areas and the education and knowledge that we provide.
Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there's private parking right outside the door. Call or visit Medical House today.
This month, we're featuring Evian Natural Spring Water, brought to us by John Barrett & Son. Evian water is among the best-known bottled mineral waters on the market, and was one of the first, originating at sources on the south shore of Lake Geneva almost 2 centuries ago. It's good to know also that Evian has instituted extensive water management projects on 3 continents, working as the Evian Water Protection Institute to help address one of the world's major ongoing issues: access to safe, abundant water for all. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back. Thanks again to Medical House and Lindo's. Good partners they are. Carla Zul, Sherry Lynn Pringle, and myself, Jamel Hartman, back to do this again with you today. I must say, thanks, Carla, for the reminder. So we are on Channel 82 live right now, as well as a replay later on in the evening. So you can tune into us regularly on your TV station, or if you have one for cable. We're also still available throughout the internet as well, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, on the Full 100 Radio handles on Facebook and the YouTube, and the Daily Hour on the others, as well as the dailyhour.com and the full100radio.com. Without further ado, let's bring in our guests for the day, Cathy Sousa and Rebecca Fisayo. Hello, how are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
All
We're
right.
fine.
Lovely to have you. Let's get right to the conversation. So, mental health. Obviously, this is an important topic that we actually are happy to be having these conversations, because so often people say we don't speak about it enough. But I've been reading a bit, especially during the pandemic, about the impact just the pandemic has had. In a recent article posted on Forbes.com, a study done in April found that 75% of people were experiencing social isolation, and this was correlated with working from home, which was interesting to me, because many people were celebrating the fact that they can work from home, but understanding that some people go to work, it's like a social outing. It's this thing to get out of the house. Maybe they have problems at home. How can people better cope with working from home and the new norm? What are some of the solutions that you guys would suggest?
Well, I think you're right that working from home has advantages and disadvantages, right? So I don't think it's all about whether it's a good thing or not. It's like I can really enjoy working from home, and I can feel lonely and disconnected at the same time. So we really have to make a big effort to address that aspect of it. So how do I keep connected? How do I stay feeling that I am not isolated? Now, sometimes that's a solution with your work team, that you can address those issues together. If you happen to work more in isolation, then you have to actually do some things on your own to get out there and connect with people. And whether that be physically or not, that you have to feel whatever it is for you that you're connecting. You have to put that effort into making those phone calls and, talking to people and doing things that have you feel that you're not all alone, basically.
Well, I think that what some have put in place is having a daily huddle meeting via Zoom, where they have handovers or discuss topics business-like. And so that's, people have reported that that has helped in reducing the isolation. And although they are working from home, they are entitled to have breaks. And so we're encouraging people during your lunch break, if it's possible, get out there, even if it's just standing outside, taking in the fresh air. That way, you see people come by, you can have casual conversations with your neighbors and stuff whilst you're on your lunch break, and then you go back in. And even on your days off, particularly over the weekends, we're encouraging people to go for walks. I think one benefit COVID lockdown or shelter in place or the restrictions have provided is having people appreciate the importance of having exercise in their lives, and appreciating that this island is so blessed with nature. And so I see a lot of families, particularly over the weekends or in the evenings, taking long walks. And no matter how old the child or children are in the family, everybody's out in the mornings, and it helps, They also, although we are working from home, you can choose to, in the evenings, have a phone call via Zoom and share a cup of tea with your friends and family. That's another great way, or in ensuring that you don't feel alone in this situation. And I suppose the term is a new norm. That way we're connecting with family, with friends in a new way, and we don't feel so isolated.
Yeah.
A study by Oracle and Workplace Intelligence surveyed 12,000 people across 11 countries and found that 78% of the global workforce reported negative impacts on their mental health this year. What should those who are mentally stressed in their jobs be doing to fix their situations?
I'll let Cathy start and then I can contribute.
Well, I really like the idea of this broadcast here that we're doing, because I think talking about things is the number one way of coping. If everybody is keeping to themselves how difficult they're finding things or how hard it is to manage everything that's going on, then everybody's feeling isolated despite feeling the same way or similarly, right? So having those conversations might take a little bit of courage at first, but it's pretty surprising how quickly that door opens up. Obviously, there's no rocket science, I think, about managing the stress in these times as opposed to other times, in the sense that we're still talking about basic stress management strategies. And I think it's important to know that it's not like a one prescription for all. Like, we really have to be in tune with what works for us, what de-stresses us. So being conscious of that, sitting down and thinking about, how do I de-stress? Are these ways productive? Are they helpful? Or do I need to find new ways of doing things? We talk about self-care. That's the number one stress management thing, and that is, really caring for yourself in the way that you would care for somebody else. Thinking about eating properly, like Rebecca said, getting the exercise that you need, getting out in the fresh air. And then different people relax in different ways. So watching, binging on Netflix might be quite okay for some people as a means of de-stressing, and somebody else might not be attracted to that way. So, for example, me, I de-stress by doing puzzles and things like that. I love things that are mentally challenging, but also a bit meditative, if you will. And I find that really de-stressing. Yoga and meditation, obviously, there are people who, meditating every day or meditating on a regular basis can be really helpful to maintain a healthy stress level. But given that we have the internet, you don't have to go by just what I'm saying. You can look up whether some stress management strategies and pick from those what fits you. That's the important thing. Not like, well, I tried that and it didn't work. Well, that's fine if you tried that and it didn't work. That just means you need to try something else.
Indeed.
And also recognizing that there is help out there. You're not alone in this. Although it might feel that you're alone. And so I would encourage adding, in addition to what Cathy is saying, is if you have tried those things and you find that it's you're still needing support, please reach out. You can reach out to us at the BHP Mid-Atlantic Wellness Institute using our crisis line. And the number is 239-1111. You can also reach out to Employee Assistance Program, and they also would be able to provide some support. And there's no shame in this at all, because our approach to things is non-judgmental. Anybody, we all feel stressed at various times. It's a normal human reaction to situations. So there's nothing to be ashamed about that. And like Cathy said, what works for me may not work for you. The important thing is you are getting support. Sometimes you have to try different things to find what works for you. Making time to ensure that you sleep properly, get enough rest, eating right, reaching out to family and friends for support. These are all avenues and things you can try in trying to de-stress. Also, just doing some deep breathing exercises, taking a deep breath, focusing on how you exhale out, because this allows the oxygen to go all through your body. And as you breathe out, you will be surprised that you're breathing out some of the stress and anxieties and so that's how that technique actually works. Sometimes it's good to take stock. What has been positive in my day? What has been negative in my day? Focusing on the positive, that despite the stressful situation, you were able to make it through to the end of the day. You did it. Another thing that has helped is using some of the skills from what we have a group here, the Decider Skills Group, which focuses on how to overcome distress or emotional deregulation. And one of the things they ask is take a deep breath, think about it. What would my friends say about this situation? What would my family? Trying to open it out to have a broader outlook of the situation before reacting to the situation. And always acknowledging that you are doing the best that you can do at that particular time, even if that best may mean do nothing.
So talking about services, I have a question, because with people losing their jobs or their companies not in partnership with EAP, where they can, or similar services, are there any free support services for people, for adults specifically with mental health challenges?
I think Rebecca can answer that. It's Mid-Atlantic Wellness Institute. Go right ahead,
That
Rebecca.
is right. I mean, they can reach out to us and we can offer the support, because that's why we're here. We can offer the support that they need at that time, and then we can look at putting them in touch, when the circumstances change, and they find jobs. So I wouldn't say finances would be a barrier to them accessing help. Please call. We're here to help. Call.
Now, let's talk about the judicial system for a minute. In your opinion, has the mental health court been effective in Bermuda with keeping people with mental health challenges out of the prison system?
I think that is a controversial topic, which I would say, to be fair, both sides have different opinion, but I would say we are working together. There is lots of gaps. Bermuda is a small island. We are working together to see how best we can provide support for these people. I know that it doesn't just take these two organizations. The individuals themselves play a role in engaging in the support offered. And we know that at times, because of the nature, I'm just speaking broadly here, that this could be challenging. So we are pushing ahead, despite our challenges. We both work together in running clinics. We have the mental health treatment court and the forensic service, and we work together with court services to ensure that there is open access for people to access support as they need. But I do recognize, yes, it isn't the ideal yet, but there are processes and systems in place that we are using in trying to bridge the gap, so to speak.
Now, mental health conversations are often avoided. How can we make those conversations more open in the community?
That is a really interesting question, to be honest with you. It is the fact that, kind of everybody recognizes the need for it and nobody wants to be the first one to do it. It's such a delicate situation due to the stigma, right? Nobody wants to be stigmatized around being the first one to say, you know what, I am struggling. You know what, I'm really stressed. I'm anxious. I'm feeling depressed. It is only by sharing those things that those conversations can begin, and yet we don't really want to do it. I don't know if Aya would be okay about me sharing this, but I know that he did a street interview one time that was geared toward mental health, and he was asking people, what would you look at people any differently? People with a mental health diagnosis, would you feel any differently about them? And basically, a majority of people said, no, absolutely not. I wouldn't feel differently. And yet then he said, well, would you let someone know if you had a mental health problem? And a majority of people said no. So it was like, I don't mind about everybody else, but I don't want anybody to know about me because I'm terrified of the stigma attached to that. So we haven't gotten to that place where we can have open conversations. We haven't even scratched the surface. And all we can do is continue doing things like this and encourage people around us and people in our corner of the community to be able to talk about things. And maybe, we have to be a little open ourselves, even us as professionals, to be able to talk about our own mental health, not talk about it as, that person over there, because that's not going to help either. I can talk about other people's mental health, but that's not going to make people feel confident that they're okay talking about their own. It's only by me talking about mine that would happen.
Sorry, go.
Okay, in the USA, there is the Baker Act, where persons can be provided emergency mental health treatment for up to 72 hours, possibly preventing them from harming themselves or others. What similar legislation is offered in Bermuda?
We have the use of the Mental Health Act. So when people present in crisis, and they are perhaps, let me give a real example. Say, for example, somebody was found by a family member presenting to be a risk to self or others. They call the police for support. That person can be taken, and usually are taken, to King Edward Emergency Department, and the resident on call or the psychiatric on call is usually called to review or assess that person. And if the person is deemed to lack capacity at that point in time in making a decision as to whether they would engage in seeking support or not, the use of the Mental Health Act is then put in place, and it's called the Section 13, which is similar to what you have just mentioned. It's the person can be detained in hospital for emergency treatment, assessment, and treatment for 72 hours.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, is underdiagnosed. Adults who incurred childhood trauma from sexual assault and domestic abuse are now recognizing symptoms. What is being done to expand services for those suffering in silence from this disorder?
Well, I think certainly we can say not enough, right? And speaking to Carla's question about free services, there are not enough services. Mental health has not taken a priority in our community in the way that would be ideal. I think it's more so in countries like Great Britain and Australia. There's more, and even Canada, there's more recognition around mental health and mental health at work. And there's more services available. The UK has a phenomenal number of charitable organizations. But in Bermuda, we're kind of pretty limited, and most people have to rely on private services, private therapy, and that's difficult. The Women's Resource Center, I think, can connect people with some counseling services, and the Center Against Abuse. Other than those, it's really hard to find affordable services, to be honest with you.
Okay. Prescribing drugs seems to be the easiest, but not always the best solution for suppressing mental health issues. How often are holistic approaches offered, and is alternative medicine supported, especially for children?
Well, wow, that's a loaded question. I think personally, alternative treatments are more an adjunct to mainstream treatment. So there aren't very many alternative therapies that are actually a treatment. And I say treatment, meaning that can significantly impact mental health symptoms. Alternative treatments are more like designed for like milder cases of anxiety, depression, and stress. Yeah, and for maintaining wellness, right? A lot of the treatments are more so maintenance things like well-being. And in terms of mental health treatment, I think it has to be viewed in conjunction with a psychiatric consult. And yes, there are psychiatrists who are very informed about alternative treatments and can be very helpful in working with you on those. I know psychiatrists that will go along with if somebody has something, an alternative treatment that they would like to utilize. as a alternative to mainstream medicine. There are psychiatrists that are quite happy to go along with that and help you see how that works for you. But all in all, I can't say that there's alternative treatments available yet that are significant enough to manage more serious mental health symptoms.
All right. We have a question coming from the audience. Considering we have a new cabinet forming as mental health professionals and advocates, are there any major policy changes you would push for to help support people in the greatest need with limited resources?
Any new changes? Well, I think, the current Minister of Health is very, what would the word be? Supportive of mental health. And I think that's a good thing. There have begun some adjustments to the Mental Health Act and addressing some of the gaps that have been there. And that's something that's in progress. And I think Mid-Atlantic Wellness Institute is probably the main coordinator of those amendments to the Mental Health Act. Overall, I think that's probably the angle we have to go with, bringing the act up to date and current with what we need. Carla mentioned about mental health court. Obviously, there's a lot of work to be done there. I think that was a phenomenal achievement to have that implemented. And it's a work in progress because it's new, and the whole understanding of what it is to treat mental health disorders and criminal behavior, right? How do we do that? I think there's a lot of people that are not up to speed on that, but it's not obviously the people who produced or created the mental health court. It's a big community effort, that mental health court, and they have a panel and lots of different people involved. So everybody has to get on board with that. And the legal system is definitely all over the world, other than maybe the UK. The legal systems are really quite dragging in those types of things.
Okay, Cathy, I have one more question. What are your thoughts on treating racism as a mental health disorder when you consider the trauma that is associated with being the bearer and or receiver of it? When is a good time to talk with children about racism in particular?
Well, that's an excellent question. I don't see that, racism is a mental health disorder. I think it is a huge factor in that needs to be considered in dealing with people who are having mental health symptoms or, stress coping things, right? The fact is that we have to consider that issue and the impact on the individual. And the only way to do that is for the therapists to be informed. So you have to be really, really cognizant, because a lot of times, obviously, the client themselves is not aware of the full impact of racism on their lives and maybe their family and, people that came before them. They're not recognizing the intergenerational impact of things like that, and then how it impacts them as individuals. And of course, it gets pretty complicated when you get down to genetics and epigenetics, and there's just a lot of stuff there where trauma can be transmitted from one generation to another, and the individual, at this point, is not aware of all of those factors. So it's up to the therapist to be really well informed about that and to be sensitive in bringing that to the table, because a lot of times the client themselves doesn't raise it. And I think, the therapist needs to be very sensitive about how and when to raise that issue. And it's more as a question, sort of, what do you think? How do you think racism has impacted you? That kind of thing. And bring that conversation to the table, because otherwise it may not be recognized in the individual themselves.
Indeed. Got to wrap it up. But in probably 30 seconds or less. This is not a debate, so please try to respect the rules. Amanda Kelly actually says, does spirituality play an impact in mental health?
Well, we know that it does. It's an aspect of health, along with well, now I'm going to get into my pet peeve about physical and mental health, but health is health, right? And spirituality is a part of overall health. No matter how you access spirituality within yourself and within your environment, it is a significant factor to be considered in maintaining wellness.
Alrighty. Cathy, Sousa, Rebecca, Fisayo, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. It is the theme of this week is be kind. What message do you want people to remember and take away from this conversation and overall mental health awareness week period?
Do you mind if I read a quote?
Sure, go ahead.
It's a little bit long. So you never really know the true impact you have on those around you. You never know how much someone needed that smile you gave them. You never know how much your kindness turned someone's entire life around. You never know how much someone needed that long hug or deep talk. So don't wait to be kind. Don't wait for someone else to be kind first. Don't wait for better circumstances or for someone to change. Just be kind, because you never know how much someone needs it. And that's Nikki Benass, and she wrote that for the Mindful Journal. That would be my message. Honest to goodness, your smile can change someone's day.
Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who's come this week to discuss this important topic on mental health, and hopefully we can have you back again sometime to continue the conversation.
Thank you so much for having us. This is how we're going to get out there and have this mental health be like a daily personal conversation amongst people, just like I bumped my leg yesterday, right? Like you talk about these things, right? Yeah.
Thanks again. Have a great one.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All righty. We are going to take a break, and then we'll be right back with the Daily Play, and then Carla's going to send us off with inspirational quote of the day. That sound good to you? Okay, cool. Let's do it.
When you upgrade your Wi-Fi to Eero, something amazing happens. Everything just works, letting you connect with what's important. That's why we made Eero, the world's best reviewed home Wi-Fi system. Eeros replace your router, forming a wireless mesh network that blankets your home in fast, reliable Wi-Fi. Eero is simple to set up and can expand to cover any home, meaning all your connected devices work the way you want them to, wherever you want them to.
Yep, still at the office. Then I'm at the other branch.
With Eero, you'll have no more dead spots, slow spots, drop-offs, or buffering. It's Wi-Fi so good, you'll never think about Wi-Fi again.
Definitely appreciate strong Wi-Fi. That's how we're able to bring you this show uninterrupted, right? I was going to make a Wi-Fi joke, but it's not right. But Shari, no, it was about you, Shari, but it's not right. Because you have a good story. When Shari was in the newspaper recently for her Wi-Fi, her thing blew up, and one communication CEO reached out to her and took care of her. So that was very nice of them to do that. So Wi-Fi is an important factor. But we have the Daily Play, right? What is it today? Name that place, geography?
Yeah, we are traveling somewhere. We're traveling somewhere where there are 36 million people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just under 173,000 square miles. It's the same size as California. However, its most popular sport is football.
Football, real football or the American kind?
Real football.
Okay.
Brazil?
Tourism is one of the country's most important economic industries.
It's South America, correct?
No. It's the second largest film set in the world. The second largest film set is located here. It's in the northwestern corner of Africa.
Ivory Coast.
And it's the largest producer and exporter of sardines in the world.
Nigeria? I don't know.
No, Nigeria is Central Africa. You said it's West Africa?
Northwestern corner of
Algeria?
Africa. No.
So you
Senegal?
Yeah, you got Senegal, you got Liberia, you have
Cameroon.
I think that's Central. Morocco is North.
You just said it.
But I thought that was more northern. Oh,
northwestern corner.
Morocco as well.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me look at a map because Morocco is right below Spain, correct? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm asking the tester some more information on the question.
I gave you like about 7 or 8 clues. So, but yeah, Morocco. I was actually looking at Marrakesh, but then I just decided to do Morocco.
Hold on. You can't throw shade at Carla and I for giving us all these clues. Look, if the teacher, you're the teacher. You give me a test at the end of the year, and I have to, it takes me 2 hours to do a 5-question exam. That says more about your teaching than it does the students. You want
so true.
You know what I'm saying? Don't put this on the student. Real quickly. So you know how we have this work academy thing going on this show, right? Did you guys see that of the 6 new MPs, 5 of them went to work academy?
I saw Work Academy congratulate 3 of them, but I didn't know we had 5. We must get them on the show. We have to have them on the show.
Why?
Ernie Sherry loves that skill that much.
Apparently they do too.
I mean, and I went there, but whatever.
all of a sudden, it's whatever.
No, I mean, this is cute, but I noticed that you love Work Academy. Oh, my alum.
I do.
How many times can you say that?
And maybe it's different because I didn't go away. I didn't go off the island to school, so it's important to me.
Oh, hold on, sorry. Look, it must have been that boyfriend she had in high school that's like, I don't want to think of that place. I have no interest. I remember. I can't even look at his face.
Who, me?
Oh, shucks, I forgot you could hear me.
I never had a Work Academy boyfriend. I like the rebel boys. Anyway.
Maybe that's the problem. See, she didn't have a Work Academy boyfriend. That's the problem.
No, I got a full 100 one.
Oh my. Just so dirty. What you got? You gonna inspire us or what? Keep it
I
clean.
forgot my dad is watching.
Keep it clean.
I take it back. The question isn't who is going to let me, it's who is going to stop me. I can't pronounce the first name. A-Y-N. So I'll say Ayn Rand, R-A-N-D.
Nice. Nobody's gonna stop me. Look, we may have MP Famous on tomorrow. Waiting on him. He had a birthday yesterday, so he's probably still celebrating. Although he has a show tonight that he does. So hopefully we'll have him in the building tomorrow. Talk about not so much the election, but what the plans are going forward and how he plans to ensure that it's not just what he does in his constituency, but what he does in the House that will benefit Bermudians. So hopefully we'll have MP Famous on. We have an interesting lineup next week. I really want people to share, but we're going to have Dr. Lou Matthews coming on to talk about education. We're also going to have Lamerne Woods to come on to talk about the power, the importance of Black media. In 10 seconds, Shari, any final words?
Just be kind and happy birthday to all the fabulous Libras out there. There are so many.
What you got for us, Carl?
Don't be afraid to speak about mental health challenges.
All right. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to The Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House. All recorded episodes and highlights can be found at thedailyhour.com. Stay connected with us by following us at The Daily Hour on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.